The room, which looked like a prison, was stained with blood. The girl looked at the boy with contempt and asked where the others were. The boy was breathing very hard. He seemed to be on the verge of death. The girl repeated her question again, and then pointed her sharp blade at the boy. The hero was in a terrible state, but his eyes shone with a bright flame. They stood in this position, and the hero thought about the fact that he could not imagine that this woman, who was a pure-blood heir to the supreme sword, would be so strong that literally in an instant to destroy all the half-demons who could not even fight back. The girl seemed to be so strong that no creature could even touch her. On the battlefield was a huge number of corpses, a picture definitely not for a weak person. The girl pierced her blade through the body of the enemy. The blow had a huge force, because of which the blade entered as deep as possible and pierced through the body. The girl made a sharp jerk, after which the enemy was cut in two. She became the one who was able to literally in a few movements to defeat the most heavenly demon, after which she unleashed a great war with demons. In the present, the girl grabbed the guy by the scruff of the neck, and then started screaming, as she was sure that the hero knew exactly where the other half-demons had gone. She wanted the guy to tell everything, as she thought that the hero was very much guilty. The hero realized that he had done a terrible thing, and he should have told everything, but at the moment his vocal cords were torn, and his heart was bewitched by the seal, which plunged the hero into an abyss of despair, as he could not do what he wanted. The girl in a tender voice with tears in her eyes gave the hero a last chance. Though his death was demanded by everyone, she would do everything possible to keep the guy alive. She begged him to tell the necessary information. The body of so strong girl was shaking. It seemed the hero meant a lot to her. The girl began to beg, while letting out a huge amount of tears. The hero did not understand why the girl had such a reaction. He thought of possible options. Perhaps she blindly hates demons, or wants revenge for her fiancé, who was kidnapped by demons. The hero began to smile, because it is so stupid that the strongest woman in the world suffers because of some man. The girl felt angry, after which she instantly started shaking the hero, after which she threw him away with all her might. The girl's shaky voice said that if she knew how despicable the guy would be, she would have immediately killed him as a child when they first met. The girl regretted it very much that she had not done so, while the hero, who lay on the floor unable to move, thought about whether the girl remembered their first meeting. He assumed that her memories might be different. He reacted very rudely, while the girl seemed to be a fool in love. The hero remembered that he became a traitor who joined the ranks of demons and killed countless people. The girl continued to cry. She could not control herself. Suddenly her face changed. It turned out that it was the hero began to move. She did not understand what the hero was doing now, while the guy, without saying anything, began to draw something on the floor. Suddenly the hero's heart began to hurt very badly. The veins on his chest swelled. The guy began to vomit blood. It seemed he was doing something that violates the laws of demons. The protagonist realized that he was cursed, but continued to do what he was doing. He realized that as soon as he broke his promise, his heart would burst, and he would instantly leave this world. And the rule he was about to break was to betray the demonic cult. The girl tried to shout to the guy. She begged him to stop and stop writing. It seemed she was still worried about him. The hero thought about the fact that he was not really acting of his own free will, but he also did not believe that the girl would believe him. The guy continued to draw something. He didn't want to justify himself, as there was no point in it now. The girl looked with sad and scared eyes at what the guy was drawing. He almost finished what he wanted to write. Then instantly his whole body was pierced by a hellish pain. The guy was in pain, but after a moment all the sounds disappeared. He just lay on the ground, on the last breath, thinking about why he had fallen into such a life. In the past he was supported by his sister, who always said that her brother would be happy. The girl kept trying to get through to the protagonist, while the guy thought about all the regrets that had fallen on his life. He remembered the girl who was sitting near the stone. In the past he had come to her, after which she recognized him, though she had no eyes. In fact, she was very sorry, and to these words hero could not respond in any way. In the present, the girl tearfully tried to reach the guy. Her tears fell on the pale face of the protagonist and flowed down his cheeks. The hero remembered a moment from the past, when the girl asked him if he was crying. and he justified like a fool that it was just raindrops. The girl seemed upset that the guy wasn't crying for her. She asked if the moon had risen, and the protagonist replied that it had. She was glad that until her last breath the boy was by her side. Then she closed her eyes and left this world forever. The main character's name is Gu Yanjun. He was a member of the Shangxi Gu clan. He was born into the righteous faction and was a loyal fighter until he betrayed them and sided with the demons. After the defeat of the demonic cult, he was taken prisoner, where he was tortured for a great amount of time, until death reached him. Finally, Yanjun, for all his not easy life, was able to relax and close his eyes forever. Suddenly, the guy saw a girl in front of him only in his youth who was offering him delicious potatoes. Yanjun didn't understand what was going on, and like last time he asked in surprise. He remembered the moment when he had broken the prohibition, when his heart had burst and he had died in the arms of the girl he had known since childhood. Dear viewers of my channel, before I continue, I want to thank you for the fact that we were able to gather 20,000 people. Thank you guys so much, and I would also like to ask you to support my other videos, not just Lloyd's. I will definitely be releasing it as soon as the chapters are collected, and you can check out my other videos and see if you can find something interesting. Thank you all. Let's keep going. The protagonist grabbed his heart. He did not understand why it continued to beat, because it felt as if nothing had happened. The hero realized that he was in a small version of himself. He thought it might be a death dream. He looked menacingly in the direction of the girl. As he realized one thing, he was in the exact same period of time when they first met. The hero decided to think about how he had acted the first time. It turned out he had incredibly rudely knocked the food out of the girl's hands, which seemed to scare her a lot. He then crushed the innocent vegetable with his foot with all his might, after which he said that all the niggers had no right to even get in his face, let alone like that. It seemed that the protagonist was ashamed of his past self. He thought that if he dreamed such a dream, he had a lot of regrets in his soul. The guy grabbed a potato, while the girl suggested that he just didn't like potatoes. This time the reaction of the hero was completely different. He thanked the girl from the bottom of his heart, and then began to bite the treat. But suddenly it turned out that she was incredibly hot. The girl began to laugh, as the guy looks funny. Suddenly some man showed up and ran to the hero as he was worried about his young master. It turned out that it was the bodyguard of the protagonist, but it was a very difficult task for the guy to remember his name. The man said that he was very worried, then noticed that his master hurt himself because of the girl and her potatoes, because of which the man grabbed his sword and was ready to slaughter such a kind and bright girl. The protagonist stopped the guard in time. The boy asked the guard for a honey cookie. He knew very well that the man always carries it with him. It turned out to be the last one, and the guy pulled it out of his hands. Yanjun, to his guard's surprise, decided to share the treat with the girl, and then said he was sorry that it was all he could repay. The girl couldn't hold back any longer. This was actually the first time she had ever been given something like this. She was incredibly happy, and it seemed that she was about to choke on her drool. Suddenly, there was a very hoarse voice from old age. It turned out that it was the girl's grandfather, who rushed to her, as he was very worried. He hugged his granddaughter and asked if she was all right. He asked the girl not to let go of his hand, but she did not listen, so he was worried. The girl said that everything was fine, and she hadn't lost the potatoes. The grandfather was very worried about his granddaughter, while the main character remembered something, because of which he immediately turned pale. The girl confessed to her grandfather that she had given away one potato and pointed her finger in the direction of the protagonist. The grandfather instantly clenched his teeth, then grabbed the girl's hand and began to pull her. The grandfather instantly crouched down and began begging forgiveness for his granddaughter's inappropriate behavior. The boy said that she had done nothing wrong, adding that he was actually grateful to her. He showed a sign of respect, and then said that the potatoes the girl had given him were delicious. The boy held out a cookie and said that it was all he could give in return for such kindness. The grandfather looked at the treat with disbelief. He seemed to sense a catch and was worried. The girl started to say that they should definitely take the cookie. She started to reach for it, but just a moment later the grandfather grabbed it and started to run away, apologizing to the protagonist for their behavior. Yanjun told the old man to stop. He thought they were going to be punished, but he just gave the girl a cookie and said that they would see each other again soon. The old man was worried. It seemed he couldn't understand why the gentleman was so nice to his granddaughter. The girl very insistently offered the hero more potatoes, as she was also grateful. At that time, the old man began to smile, after which he knew for sure that his granddaughter had finally found the one. Later, they said goodbye and left. Yanjun smiled, but as soon as they finally left, his face changed to a very unhealthy one. It turned out that this seemingly simple old man had recently been the head of the Murima Warrior Alliance. This old man was also one of the 3 high ranks. They were called the strongest people in the world, those who could sow fear and terror in the ranks of the enemy, in the name of this legendary warrior Vihyagun. The protagonist could not understand what such an incredible man is doing in this place. Although the hero decided not to think much about it, although perhaps it is just a dream of a dying man, here everything will be different. The girl smiled sincerely at the protagonist, and he seemed happy to see such a reaction. The guard said that it was time for them to go home, and so they began to move home. The hero thought that now there was one less regret, and it was time for him to wake up. But suddenly the dream didn't end, and he and the guard arrived home. Yanjun couldn't understand why his dream didn't end, and it was time for him to wake up. The hero thought that it might not be a dream at all, but some residual curse of a heavenly demon. He heard the voice of his older sister, who was surprised that her brother was not running away at all. She was the older sister who despised the protagonist as much as possible. Yanjun thought that everyone had gathered to greet the head. The girl asked what Yanjun was up to this time. She warned him not to dare to embarrass himself like last time, and ordered him to get away. Yanjun said he was here because he had to be. The sister tried to insult the guy, but her cheap provocations didn't seem to work on the hero. Yanjun said that he would personally apologize to the head for last time. The girl was furious. She started shouting the hero's name. Then a strong aura started to cover her body and she started moving towards the protagonist. She said that it doesn't matter what the guy came up with this time. Now she's going to nail it before Yanjun does something. The hero asked his sister to stop. He warned that their father, or rather the head of the clan, was already nearby. At that time the head arrived on a large horse. He immediately inquired what was going on. All the clan members greeted the head. The hero was among them. The man looked very carefully with his cold gaze towards the boy. The protagonist seemed to understand why the head was looking at him like that. The head continued to stare at his son with a creepy look, then turned to his deputy and asked if there was a free swordsman. It turned out that the 4th was just free. The head ordered to tell the swordsman to get ready, then come to him. The protagonist still couldn't figure out if it was a dream or reality, but his father's gaze was as heavy as ever. The head turned to the hero and said he would be waiting for him in his chambers. Yanjun's face turned pale. He seemed sickened by these words. He asked the guard if they had any stomach medicine. Later it was night. A very generous table was set up inside the building. The hero was looking at a plate of rice, while thinking that the atmosphere at dinner did not change at all. The hero felt uncomfortable with the fact that he had received a personal invitation and hoped that someone would defuse the situation as soon as possible. The head began to speak and turned to his second child. The man had heard that she was doing very well in martial arts. The girl boasted with obvious joy in her eyes that she had recently received her 3rd star. The head praised the girl and then asked her to keep it up. The protagonist reflected that the girl was indeed very talented and worked hard. After all, it was incredible for her age. The protagonist was surprised to see a smile on the girl's face as she saw the protagonist's face change. The head turned to Yanjun, and he froze at the suddenness of it. The head had heard that the hero was leaving the area. Yanjun said that he had some business to attend to, and that was the reason he had gone out for a while. The head seemed to think about it, then rose from his seat and ordered the dinner to continue, and decided to leave the event himself. The hero was thinking about what might be waiting for him after lunch, when suddenly he was approached by a girl. She said that the head had postponed the meeting to the next day. The hero was surprised, but still decided to rest. Yanjun thought that maybe what was happening to him could be a regression. Suddenly the guy thought about it, then his fist unknowingly began to clench hard. He might have a chance to defeat the celestial demon, although he immediately dismissed such things, as it was impossible to defeat someone who easily destroyed the strongest masters of the world. Remembering his terrible past, he was overcome with emotions of bitterness and disappointment. It was the kind of life that helped the guy realize many things. Now that he had a chance, he would definitely want to live a new life in a completely different way. The hero was going to lead a peaceful life and do whatever he wanted. Now he was going to live a life that he would never have to regret. The hero decided to get down to the important business, and his body was instantly pierced by lightning, and a bright core appeared in the dantian, which burned just as brightly. The guy was happy that he succeeded. He could find not so much energy in his body. In fact, to his sister, he is very far away. The hero decided to change the fate of the weakling and decided to use the techniques he knows. His body began to be covered with red energy. As soon as the hero reaches the 4th star, he will be able to emit fire energy, and at the 7th star, he will be able to cover his entire body with it. However, he was only at the 1st star now. Yanjun was going to train hard to reach the 2nd star first. The protagonist realized that for a peaceful life, he should not use demonic energy, but use only his own power. Suddenly, the body of the hero began to emit light, but suddenly the process stopped, and everything ended, leaving the guy in incomprehension. The hero fell on his back, because with his level, now he cannot control the energy well enough. So there is a risk of inadvertently destroying his body. The guy smiled with all his teeth, as even such efforts had paid off. He was now sure that he had reached the 2nd star. The protagonist was going to continue at this pace, getting stronger step by step. He was going to radically change his life and the future that awaited him. It was morning outside. The birds were singing beautifully. At that time, Yanjun felt disgusting. He didn't understand why his body was breaking so much after one light workout. The hero also realized that he was to blame for this, as he had suffered from a lot of crap before. The guy left the room thinking that the chapter will come in the afternoon, and now he was going to do training, and suddenly in front of him he saw a girl who just incredibly nice to say hello to him. A strange phenomenon appeared in the sky. People looked at it and could not understand what it was. Suddenly from the sky began to appear an eye, which caused horror in the people who saw this phenomenon. It turned out that from the void at that very moment began to appear monsters, and the phenomenon began to be called simply demonic rift. Since then, each sect began to cultivate warriors, and they were called swords. They were in every sect. For example, in the hero's clan, there were 5 of them, and the oldest daughter was their commander. Same with the hero. Their troubled son spent half his life under their tyranny. Then they tried to do something sensible with him. He saw that very girl in front of him, and it was this moment that the hero considered the official acquaintance with Sola. After the incident with the potatoes, half a year had passed before this sudden meeting. But now everything was completely different, and the girl met the guy much earlier. There was an awkward silence between them, after which Yanjun instantly turned back to the room and said that he seemed to have slept terribly during the night. The girl grabbed hold of the guy's clothes and motioned for him to stop. She looked at him intently, and he couldn't understand what she wanted. The girl said that she was very glad to meet him and wanted to add something, but the grandfather instantly knocked out the girl's hand, and then instantly explained to the girl that the young gentleman should not be treated like that. The hero could not understand at all why her grandfather treated him like that. The grandfather ordered the granddaughter to apologize, and she actually did so. The hero looked at her grandfather carefully, and then the grandfather introduced himself as Wee Mun, and said that he would serve the protagonist from this day on, and would do his best to be useful. Yanjun was aghast at this story. He didn't understand what was going on. The girl also introduced herself, and said that it was nice to meet you, and that she would help her grandfather. The hero could not realize such a coincidence. It seemed that it could not be true. The guy also realized that most likely his father personally gave the order to the old man. After that, the hero asked to call him by his first name. A little while later, the old man was sweeping the yard. While the hero did not understand why the old man was sweeping, in response, the grandfather only looked at Yanjun and smiled sweetly, as if he was an ordinary old man, not one of the strongest people in the world. The hero, who knew who the grandfather was actually very uncomfortable. The protagonist was also embarrassed by another thing. He looked in the direction where Sola was also helping around the house. The other girls were helping the little girl to settle in and teaching her everything. Sola tripped over a rock and started to fall. She hit her forehead very hard, and then there was silence. Everyone just kept silent, because they did not know what to say or what to do. The girl began to shake with pain. At that time, the hero realized one fact, namely that the girl is completely untalented in household chores. The protagonist didn't understand how a girl who had such talent could be so clumsy. Yanjun couldn't stand it. He got a headache. The girl tried to stop Sol, but she came running to the protagonist in tears. The hero asked if the girl would finish the work. It turned out she was ordered to follow the hero. He asked who it was ordered to her, and this person turned out to be grandfather, and that's why the guy had to accept this fact. The hero thought about the fact that now this girl is like his personal maid. Hero also thought about the fact that he was the son of a great clan. How could he be stuck with just anyone? Hero had nothing against this girl, but he knows that she is actually a great talent. The girl helped the guy to dress, and after completing this act, she was happy, although the result was not very good. The protagonist pondered whether the father knew who these people were or didn't care, while fixing what the girl had done. The protagonist decided to ask his father when they see each other. Since right now Yanjun couldn't understand what was going on. The girl ran after the guy and asked her to wait. The hero ordered her to stay here and finish her business, to which the girl cried and didn't agree at all. The grandfather watched this picture and seemed to be thinking about something. At that time, there was a pause between the children. The main character told the girl before leaving that she should learn to fulfill her responsibilities. She seemed upset by this turn of events. Finally, the protagonist before the doors closed said that he would definitely reward the girl, so he asked her to do her best. The doors slammed shut. At that time, the girl's mood had completely changed and she was full of energy. The grandfather seemed happy with this result. A little while later, the hero stood in front of the entrance to his father's chambers and worried. He was very scared. Yanjun continued to think about what he should do, but suddenly his father appeared behind him, which frightened the protagonist. They were sitting at the same table, and the guy was worried that right in front of the head he started swearing out of fright. The head asked if the hero had met the new servants, and Yanjun said that he had met them in the morning. The hero said he was very grateful for the new servants, and then said he was curious about one thing. The father listened attentively to what his son wanted to tell him. The father asked the boy not to ask yet, and promised to tell him when the time came. Now the boy just kept silent. He didn't know what to tell him. The hero didn't understand why his father sent such great men to him. The father told his son not to worry and better prepare for tomorrow. The protagonist didn't realize what this Dragon Alliance meeting was all about as suddenly his look completely changed to one of deepest terror. Yanjun ordered the guard to slaughter him right now. The man didn't understand such a serious reaction. He couldn't believe that the young lord was so reluctant to go to the meeting, and he was. It's an event where new swords are chosen. It's held every 2 years to honor warriors who risk their lives for others. The direct descendants of the clan must participate in this event. For this reason, the hero begged his guard to kill him right now. The guard said that you can just not show up, and then the head of the clan will kill the guy. The guard said that Elder Lee himself would be at the event, and if the hero didn't show up, he would give him a serious beating. Yanjun was very worried, because among the elders was the most vile. He always demanded a lot from the hero, as he was the only son of the head. Although in fact he should thank the elder for his care, but he was always busy. The hero was amazed at himself. Despite such great efforts of the elder, he still became such a loser. The carriage was standing in the bright sunny daylight. The hero was thinking that they would have to leave soon. While the girls were admiring Sola, the hero asked if the girls were ready. They apologized and explained that they were tidying up Sola. Yanjun didn't understand what the hell this girl had done again. The girls didn't know what to say. While Sola came out and showed herself in special clothes, the guy at first held back his emotions. But just a moment later, he started to get very embarrassed, and the girl blushed very much. The girl turned to the hero, then said that everyone around her called her a beauty. The guy turned away and pretended that he did not care, although in fact he thought she was still a beauty. The girl began to fix her hair, and then asked if Yanjun thought she was beautiful. The boy was embarrassed, he couldn't contain himself, and then he changed the subject and said they had to hurry. While they were driving, the girl looked out of the window and was happy that they were moving very fast. It was the first time she had ever ridden a carriage, and it was because of this that she was so excited. The hero asked where the meeting would be this time, and the guard said that it would be at the Heavenly Market. The guard suggested that Yanjun take a break, and it seemed the guy was not at all opposed to the idea. At that time, the girl shouted with all her might that although horse meat has an odor, it is delicious. The hero had to cover the girl's labor with his hand. So that she would calm down a little, he gave her a cookie, which she happily began to eat. Finally, the hero was able to lie in silence. He decided to try to sleep. Just a moment later, the hero felt Sola woke him up with the words that she ran out of cookies. In fact, they had already arrived at the place, which caused a negative reaction of the guy, as he did not sleep at all. The city was very lively, and even though it was nighttime outside, the city was bright. The hero thought that there were so many people on the streets because of the holiday. A man suggested that the long trip had tired the protagonist, and then he introduced himself as Jong Ishil, who was the deputy head of the heavenly market. The hero also introduced himself to the man, and then said it was nice to meet him. The man said that the first day should go smoothly, and then offered to escort the hero to his quarters. At that time, the protagonist was thinking about his sister, who hates him very much. Yanjun hoped with all his heart that he would not meet his sister. But these hopes were not to be realized, because even before he reached the hotel he met his sister, who, as always, reacted to the appearance of the guy disgusted. The hero said hello, as the sister said that he would shove his pleasantries in the ass. The girl said she really hoped that at least now the guy wouldn't fuck things up. The hero said that he would be quiet as a mouse, and asked the girl not to worry. She got even more angry, and said she wasn't worried about the guy. The sister noticed the girl behind the hero's back. She was incredibly beautiful and was hiding behind the guy. The sister had a look of contempt in her eyes. She thought that Yanjun would behave as usual, because old habits are not easy to get rid of. He didn't know what his sister was talking about. She said that she thought the guy had changed a little, but added that people don't change, and then she slammed the door with all her might. Yanjun didn't understand his sister's reaction at all. It was strange to him. A little while later, they went to a very beautiful place. The girl was amazed at the huge size of the arena. The hero had heard that rich people like to measure their money, especially during the festival. Today was a feast for the swords and their merits, but tomorrow would be a day of duels that would help determine the new members of the swords. The boy was glad that the blood heirs were not participating in the tournament. He was very glad that he would only be watching the battles while a terribly creepy man appeared behind the boy's back. The man was overjoyed that the boy didn't run away this time. He was approaching the hero at a great speed, who was trying to figure out how to block such a quick attack. But in the end, it turned out that the man just wanted to stroke the boy's head. He asked what was wrong with the boy, with as kind a look as possible. The old man wondered how it was that the boy wasn't running away, and the hero recalled the threat the old man had given. The old man pretended that he didn't understand what the boy was talking about, and the hero said that the author of the threat was the man himself, to which he was glad that the boy had learned to answer. The hero did not understand why the old man was so fixated on him. He had in his head the only possible reason, namely that he was the only son in the family. The girl started to say that bears are as tasty as horses, which caused a terrifying reaction from the man. The girl immediately got scared and started to say that bears are cute, but the man kept looking at the poor girl with his scary look. The girl started crying from such pressure and hid behind the hero, who explained that the elder was scaring people with his gaze. The elder was intrigued and assumed that the girl was the hero's favorite, while the guy said to look at her clothes and explained that she was just a servant. The man pretended not to understand at all and agreed with the boy's words. The elder told the boy to get a good night's sleep, as it was important to be in good health for the competition. Finally, the elder turned to the boy and gestured that the hero was finished if he tried not to show up tomorrow. The children talked among themselves about how creepy the man was. While the old man thought that he was right, there was something special about the girl. The next day was the day of the meeting. The hero was surprised that the main action would not take place in the morning, but closer to lunchtime. The hero was shocked at the number of people who wanted to join the sword squad. The hero assumed that becoming a sword is very important for people. At that time, the girl was terrified because she was afraid that they would be killed by Uncle Bear. The hero said she could have just stayed in the chambers since she was so scared. The hero said that their guard would easily defeat the bear if anything happened, which gave the girl hope. The guard asked what kind of bear it was, and the hero explained that it was an elder, after which the guard explained that he had no right to touch the elder. The hero said that in that case he would have to give Saul's head. The girl was very worried, and the hero eventually confessed that he was only joking, and she should not be so worried. The girl began to say that if you die on a full stomach, the ghost will be nicer. The The guard was surprised by the hero's favor to the girl. The hero said that he just felt sorry for her, but in fact he remembers the Saul he knew and just does not know how to behave. The guard was happy that the young gentleman bought the girl dumplings anyway. The hero tried to think of something to justify himself, but in the end he couldn't say anything. The guard looked at his master and smiled. The guard talked about how the Lord was different from how the rumors described him. The hero asked how long the guard had been with him. The guard confessed that about 2 weeks. The hero was surprised at the coincidence, as the guard had appeared right before his regression. Suddenly there was a scream, which made Yanjun react. It turned out that it was a boy who tried to persuade his mistress not to go out alone. She, in turn, said that the boy was worrying in vain. She thought that in such a place nothing could happen, while the hero thought that the voice was very familiar. The boy was worried that the girl would meet the heir of the Gu family, which was the hero. Yanjun was shocked by what he heard, while the girl said that it was simply impossible since there were so many people in this place. The hero thought that the girl's words were ominous. She asked him to stop worrying, and after a moment he and the hero met each other's gazes and stood looking at each other. The hero felt as awkward as possible while the girl turned pale. The guard did not understand what was going on and asked the hero why these people look at them as something scary. The hero could not forget this girl. This girl was a representative of the Hebiwen clan. She was beautiful, and once together they sat at the same table, and it turns out this girl is the fiancée of the protagonist. The reason for this engagement was that they were the same age and their clans were almost on par. He was the direct heir of his clan, and for this reason they were not against this marriage. But when rumors spread that he was neglecting his training, and the hero himself was not serious, the relationship was ruined. The girl did not understand what the guy was doing here. At that time he asked what she was doing here. The girl said that she had things to do. The hero answered in his own way, and it hurt her. She was a year older, and in her opinion he should have spoken more politely. The hero apologized to Nuna. The hero said that in case the girl had bought everything she needed, it was time to start leaving. The protagonist immediately said goodbye to the girl and then started to leave. He passed by saying that they were very busy and it was time for them to leave. The girl just watched the cheeky boy walk away. The girl thought that she had things to do. She noticed the hero's maid and thought she was very nice, and maybe she was the reason for the change in the hero. In the past, the protagonist called the girl just a daughter of a concubine. She grabbed him by the scruff of the neck, then jumped on him, and with a menacing look asked him what he had just said. Although the hero was scared, he believed that he had only told the truth, and then he received a powerful blow directly to the face. Although she was ready to tolerate a lot of things because of the marriage, but that time the hero crossed the line. She tolerated even terrible rumors about the hero for the sake of her clan. The maid tried to calm down her mistress. At that time the girl fought off the hand of the maid, and then stepped next to the head of the guy, and with the words that she did not need such a wedding prepared to finish off the protagonist. The girl doubted that such a man as Yanjun could change. At that time the hero helped the girl, because he thought that she was hard. The past wife couldn't believe that the guy had changed so much. She accepted the fact that some part of him had changed, but not for long. She immediately returned to her original opinion of the hero. Then she thought about what would happen if the guy changed. Her thoughts were interrupted by a man screaming. The guys didn't realize that it had just happened. The man was trying to explain to the man that the problem couldn't be solved by screaming and asked him to calm down. At that time, the man banged on the table and said that he had no time for that, as he could be caught. The man immediately thought about these words and asked what they meant, after which the scoundrel could not answer anything, and there was silence in the circle. In the end, the villain began to justify himself, while the hero was thinking whether he should intervene. The hero thought that it was better to deal with the guards. 3 men looked at the rude man. Then one of them advised him to stop all this. The guy didn't think long and grabbed the robot by the arm, then instantly took him on a throw and pinned him to the ground. The other worker didn't understand what this guy was doing, but he explained that he was showing his abilities. He was still banned from the tournament, while others watched from the sidelines. The hero decided to move on, as he didn't want to get involved in the incident. The worker said that you can't do whatever you want. There are rules you can't break. The guy didn't understand such rules. He thought that skills were the most important thing. Suddenly the guy started to say that the workers don't respect the young head of the Hebiwen clan at all. Everyone was shocked by what they had just heard. They couldn't believe it was the young head of the Heavywind clan. In the past, it was winter outside and it was snowing very heavily. The girl could not understand what the guy was doing. He said that he just decided to make a fire to keep warm in this cold weather and at the same time to roast food. The girl did not specify why he decided to do it right next to her quarters and asked what the sign in his hands. He planned to use it for kindling, since potatoes take a long time to cook. He didn't understand why he got hit on the head. It turned out that the plaque was a reward for the best students. The girl was very angry at the simplicity of this guy. She asked him to learn to behave according to his status as heir. The guy seemed to be only upset about this kind of status. At that time, the girl seemed to understand what was bothering him. Then she said she didn't understand what the guy was thinking. He is such a talent after all. The guy said that he didn't want anything, and in fact he wanted to get away from this place. The girl said that the guy would run away and then come back. It seemed that this idea was very good for the young man, and then he said that he would be back soon. The girl was angry. Since the brother had been gone for 4 months, she asked where they found the little bastard. She was told that they saw him in Shangxi. At that time, the guy started yelling that he had shown all he could. Then with all his might, he started yelling to be allowed to participate in the tournament. Roboki asked the guy to calm down, but he kept yelling that he had no time at all. The hero was surprised that such a person was acting so childish. Yanjun was about to leave this place before he got dragged into all this. An elder appeared and said that the guy wasn't a liar. Then the elder asked the worker to let the boy participate, and the boy joined his hands, and then he brought the elder to him and said he was glad to meet him. The old man was overjoyed at such respect. The elder confirmed that he was the heir to the clan, as the boy was an exact copy of his father. He added that the ring on the boy's finger was also proof. The elder inquired about the boy's reason for coming here, and he confessed that he was actually just bored with the clan. Starrick laughed and called that a worthy reason, then asked if his father had given him permission to do so. The boy said that he was sure his father would not have approved of it, and that was the reason he had run away from home. The old man laughed out loud. It turned out that the boy was already 23 years old, and he was very well trained. The elder said the hero had a lot to learn. The servants assumed the old man was talking about the hero. Very soon this guy would win a great title, namely Blade Emperor. He really is a real monster. The hero did not understand why 2 members of this clan are in this place. At that time, the girl began to shout to his brother. He was happy to see his sister. She in turn normally so prescribed him with a foot right in the face. The guy flew to a great distance. The blow was really strong. The girl was furious. She was more like a mad beast than a human being. At that time, the brother began to justify himself and asked to give him a chance to explain himself. The girl didn't understand what the guy had to say for himself. After that, the guy was instantly silent. There seemed to be no justification for his actions, after which he simply asked for mercy, and the girl continued to rage and beat him. The guy started begging the elder to help him. He asked the girl to stop, and she emotionally asked who it was that dared to interfere in their affairs. But as soon as she saw who it was, she calmed down and apologized for her behavior. The old man said he had fun watching it. She promised to make amends later because they had behaved inappropriately. The brother said he wouldn't go, which caused negative emotions in the girl. The guy showed his seriousness of intentions with his face. The girl instantly calmed down. He said that their clan was very boring, but the Gu clan might be more fun. The girl asked the guy to grow up. He is still the heir. He said that for this reason he wants to have fun before he becomes the head of the clan. The boy promised that he would definitely become the head of the clan. The hero said that it was a bad idea to give the guy the right to participate in the tournament. The old man agreed that it was not a good idea, then he decided to do the simple thing. He promised to give the guy the right to participate in the tournament if he could defeat him. The girl thought such words were nonsense, while the hero assumed that the elder had lost his mind. The old man said that only 10 attacks would determine the winner. The guy's eyes were filled with disbelief. He couldn't believe it was that simple. The elder began to tell the rules. At that time, the boy instantly moved from his seat and was behind the elder's back. He was already ready to strike. But suddenly the elder instantly turned around and prepared to make a terrible attack on the boy. After a while, the arena began to announce a grandioso event, namely the fight between the 2 children of the Gu clan, namely the sister named Gu Yanjun and the protagonist, who was the main heir of the Gu clan, which naturally did not like the hero. In the past, the elder had easily defeated the guy. sending him flying with one incredibly strong punch that made even dust rise into the air. The old man exhaled very loudly, then said with a childish expression that he had won. The hero assumed that the old man was only supposed to dodge, and he did not promise to do so. The old man said that they both agreed to the match, and he had kept his strength. The hero was worried that there might be trouble with their clan, and the old man hinted that in any case he would not die alone. The guy tried to justify himself to the girl. She was only glad that her irresponsible brother was knocked out. The girl assumed that in this way the elder was able to prevent any problems the boy might have caused. The old man laughed, and then confessed that he had done it just for fun. The girl seemed nervous, and the hero said that they would be leaving soon, but she was amazed at the elder's strength and liked it very much. The old man was pleased with this reaction and offered the girl a gift. He got her a delicious cookie, which pleased her very much. The old man thought that the hero wants a gift and confessed that he has won. He said that after the meeting, the main character will be waiting for a show fight. And so, returning to the present, the hero stands in the arena and will soon have to fight with his sister. The girl is always with a disdainful look, surprised that the hero without a sword. The boy tried to remember if he used a sword. The art of their family can be combined with many weapons, but the most effective are sword and fists. The guy thought that he was more suited to fists. That was the reason why he gave up the sword. The girl confessed that in fact she does not really care how her brother will fight, and then confessed that she is very happy with this opportunity. The hero did not understand what kind of opportunity the girl is talking about. She madly confessed that she had the opportunity to legally make a chop out of a guy, and in front of so many people. The hero seemed to get worried, then remembered how in the past he didn't understand why the elder wanted to make him fight. The old man said that he just didn't want people to be dissatisfied with the Gu clan. The hero realized that the old man was really just having fun. The old man also said that just giving up was not an option. The hero didn't understand why the old man wanted him to be beaten and humiliated in front of so many people. The old man looked at the boy carefully, and then asked if the boy was going to lose so easily. The hero did not want to waste his energy on it. At that time, the sister turned to her brother. She confessed that for the fact that just because he is a man he will be the next head, she prioritized him very much. The start of the match was announced, and the girl immediately appeared in front of the hero and delivered a lightning strike, which the guy miraculously managed to dodge. After that, the girl intended to make another attack, but the guy managed to dodge it easily. The girl could not understand how Yanjun managed to dodge it, because he took 2 stars. In fact, the hero managed to do it because he was ahead of her by half a second, but because of weakness, his breathing began to fail. The hero did not understand what to do, because he cannot win. Also, the guy did not know if he could survive a direct attack from his sister. Suddenly she again came close to the hero, then grabbed him by his clothes and tried to attack, but the hero again dodged. Then the sister prepared the final blow, but the guy again grandiose isbiz dismal damage. The hero confessed that the girl attacks very obvious attacks, and thus she does him a favor. In fact, the hero realized that the girl's bloodlust was incredibly strong right now. She began to say that she was resigned to the fact that she would not become the head of the clan because she was a woman. She was angry that a man like her brother would become the head of the clan, just because he was a man. The girl's rage had no limits. Her sword was covered with flames. The guy realized that it was too much for sparring. He also realized that the girl's power had already gone beyond the 3rd star. The girl began to make incredibly fast attacks, which the hero dodged at the last moment. She was very angry that the hero was only dodging. She tried to attack with her fist, but again she was unsuccessful. She thought that her brother was a real mediocrity who didn't try at all. She said that if he was going to continue living like that, it would be better for him to disappear from the world. The hero seemed to understand her worries. While the girl prepared to strike a blow of terrible force, the guy continued to stand in place. It seemed he was not going to dodge. On the face of the girl appeared sincere surprise. It turned out the guy was able to catch her hand and completely stop the blow. After that, with a frantic look, asked what exactly the girl had just said. The girl considered her older sister the best person. Literally, everyone recognized her outstanding skills. But even so, she was not allowed to take the post of the head of the clan, because it could only be a man, and that's why she hated the hero. They were only half related, but the mother of the hero treated the girl well. But one day, the mother of the protagonist simply disappeared. and the father told his children not to even try to find her. It was at that very moment that the protagonist began to be impertinent to everyone, to do bad things, and according to rumors, even to harass the housekeepers. But even so, the position of the hero on the head of the clan did not shake at all, and it very much began to annoy the girl. In the present, the hero was incredibly angry. He was out of his mind with anger. At that time, the girl felt fear. She already regretted that she had insulted the missing mother of the protagonist. The guy instantly moved behind the girl's back, after which his fist was already a few centimeters from her head. Earlier on stage, the ex-wife of the hero admired his sister because she really was very talented. They were also interested in what they say to each other, but the brother explained to his sister that there is a barrier inside that will not allow to hear their conversations. The girl said that it would be better if the brother sat in the chambers, because he did not look very good with such a battered face. Everyone praised the hero's sister's technique, but the boy said that even though the hero was younger, he could easily dodge all attacks. They said that the boy was the girl's brother, and the boy began to think that there were enough interesting people in this clan. The girl looked at her brother and remembered his words that he wanted to have fun before he became the head of the clan. She realized that as soon as he became the head, the fire in his eyes would disappear. The guy said that the fight was over. At that time, the girl realized that she had to dodge. She tried to counterattack. She put a huge amount of power into this attack. At that time, the hero calmed down. He said that the girl could hate him. He was also hurt by his words. He hoped that she could understand him, then instantly attacked with terrible force. The girl only had time to see the fire in front of her eyes, then missed the brutal blow from her brother. The girl instantly lost consciousness and then fell to the floor with a thud. Finally, it was announced that the fight was over, and the winner was the protagonist. The hero sat and pondered. He was not going to defeat his sister. He could not imagine that with 2 stars he could knock her out. He remembered the sight of the girl and her words, and sat alone and pondered. At that time, the guard and the girl appeared. He was worried about the boy's condition. He said that everyone was shocked by the victory of the protagonist. The elder tried to divert people's attention. The girl was worried about the hero because he was bleeding, but he explained that he couldn't control his power yet. He thought it was nothing, and the girl was very worried about the guy. The girl asked if she was doing the right thing, and the hero assumed she wasn't. Sola was crying because she couldn't do the right thing, and she felt sorry for him. Suddenly, a guy showed up and felt sorry for the hero too, and Yanjun said that this Crichton should learn to read the atmosphere. The hero greeted the young master, and he also said hello. The girl asked her brother to just leave. The brother thought that the girl was just embarrassed because she was his fiancée. The hero didn't understand what he wanted, and he said that from now on Yanjun could call him Big Brother. The hero said it was not very profitable to talk to him, but the guy didn't listen to him at all and said he was surprised by the talent that Yanjun showed in the arena. The hero assumed that the guy knew his sister. He said he thought they were very close, although he also added that he wasn't sure if the girl felt the same way. The hero didn't realize what was going on. Everyone started to leave and only the girl remained standing. He asked her what she wanted. She mentioned the day she broke off the engagement and decided to apologize for hitting the guy with a chair. The hero interrupted the girl and apologized for his behavior. He thought he fully deserved to get that blow. The girl started to smile. She seemed happy to hear these words. Then she smiled even more softly and with a beautiful blush on her face said okay. The girl asked the hero not to lose what his brother had given him, and to his surprise the hero saw some strange sign, but he did not hear any answers to the questions he had asked. The boy was left standing alone, thinking that there were still many things left to be fixed. The wagon and the horses were moving along the night street. The girl was trying to wake up Saul, who was using it as a pillow. At the time, the protagonist was thinking about the fact that he had never fought his sister in his past life, much less been able to defeat her. The protagonist began to realize the fact that the past had changed too much since he came back. Yanjun assumed that his small kindness had so greatly influenced all the events that began to happen next. The hero decided to take drastic measures immediately after returning home. Suddenly, the guy began to feel something and asked his guard to check the demonic sensor. The guard said that the hero would not worry because the sensor did not react in any way, so there was no gate nearby. Suddenly, the talisman began to glow, and the guard instantly ordered everyone to stop moving. He explained that a demonic rift had been discovered and warned everyone to protect the protagonist. The guard couldn't understand why Yanjun had gotten off the wagon because it was very dangerous outside, but the hero wasn't going to listen to the man. He said that it could be discussed next time. A rift appeared right in front of them, and it was also green in color. A moment later, monsters started running from the rift. The hero realized that the green gate posed minimal danger and prepared to fight. He instantly struck one of the monsters, after which it died instantly. The guy took out a demon stone from the monster's body, which was the heart of the monsters. Behind him was a monster that was ready to finish off the protagonist. The guy instantly reacted and attacked. Literally in one move he got the stone. It turns out that the hero had a huge problem with stamina, while the enemies continued to attack and the boy had no time to rest. The guard's voice was heard, and he quickly entered the battle, and literally with one precise combination he smashed the enemies. The hero wondered if this guy had always been this strong. The hero thanked for the rescue. It turned out that they were all monsters, and now it was all over. The guard didn't understand what the protagonist was thinking. He was worried that he might get hurt. The hero began to say that in any case nothing happened. But suddenly the guy's hand began to release purple flames. He did not realize what it was, but just a moment later the hero began to squirm in pain. It seemed he was going to die. All the people could not understand what was happening to the guy. At that time, the hero could not understand where he got this mercurial feeling. He does not own the art of demonic demon, and did not understand why he is now absorbing the energy of demons. The hero had no way of understanding where he got the absorbing magic of the demonic well from. In the past, the man looked terrible. He asked the hero why he was doing this. The battlefield had a huge number of corpses, and the man could not understand why the hero was doing this. At that time, the protagonist with a cold look asked if these were the last words of this man. He looked at his master, and then began to address him. At that time, a huge object appeared in the sky, which cast a shadow on the entire battlefield. It turned out that it was the hero's master on the terrifying creature, who said that the guy had done well. She looked down on everything proudly, then began to rapidly descend to the hero. She said that it was not enough, then asked the guy to raise his head. Suddenly the hero returned to consciousness, where his technique began to absorb demonic energy, and it became stronger and stronger. At that time, people were very worried about the hero. He woke up and said that he was fine, and then he confessed that he was probably hurt during the show fight. At that time, the girl was crying as she was very worried about her master. She was really worried about the guy, and he asked her to calm down. She said that the guy looked sick, and eventually she was stopped by the maid, as they should help the Lord, but not annoy him in any way. The hero said he had enough sleep, and he would be fine. The hero reflected that the demonic energy was finally gone from his body. All the energy from the stone had been sucked out, causing the hero to break it and decide to move on. The girl turned to the hero, then pointed to a very strong heart-shaped cookie. The hero did not react at all. She did not understand why the hero took her, if he does not give cookies. In fact, she went with him because she heard that the hero had business at the market. The guard asked what the hero had to do at the market. He thought that the hero had not recovered from the last time, and he should rest more. The guard offered his help in the search, while the girl gazed at the cookies. The hero said they shouldn't help. Then something caught the guy's attention, and he started looking carefully in that direction, then said they should go that way. The hero ordered them to go home. He was going to move on alone. The girl didn't seem to want to leave at all. The hero in turn promised 10 cookies if the girl left right away. The girl seemed to agree instantly, but she also bargained for a dumpling. Yanjun promised to do as he said, whereupon the girl pulled her hand and they shook hands, whereupon he left the guard and headed onward with him. They kept moving, after which the protagonist said that they had arrived, and the guard warned that the place was dangerous. Suddenly the hero found the exact place. It was some very strange house. The guard could not understand why the hero this strange place. The hero praised the flair of his guard, then opened the door. Inside were men who were extremely negative towards the hero. It seemed to be some kind of attackers who were going to kill Yanjun along with his guard. The guy grabbed his sword, while one of the bandits lit a candle, then said that this is not a place for excursions and asked why they came. The protagonist said that, of course, to place an order. The bandits said they would rip out the guy's tongue and then see how he talked. The guard prepared to attack while the protagonist stopped him. The protagonist was well aware that the bandits knew who he was and explained that there was no point in his clan touching the place. Then he said that they should bring in the regional manager to prevent further problems. The bandit seemed to laugh at the boy's bold statement. He thought that before you could use words, you had to learn respect. The bandits surrounded the boys, at which time the hero said that the bandits should also learn how to behave. With this, their head only laughed, then ordered his men to grab the boys, and they instantly attacked the little boy. The guard could not stand it and drew his sword. Then instantly the sword was near the face of one of the bandits, and at this rate the guard instantly moved between the bandits and eliminated them. The bandit realized that the situation was very bad. He knew that he could not cope with such a guard, but he could not call such a big shot to some child. He didn't understand what to do, and then his subordinate reported that the regional manager asked him to give something to him. The man immediately asked what kind of words the manager wanted to say, and then they began to talk to each other. The hero realized that the opponents are clearly up to something, and decided that he had no choice. The protagonist was about to do something, but he was interrupted by a bandit who asked him to put his sword away and said that the manager was waiting for them. The hero seemed displeased. He reasoned that he should have done it faster. They went to the manager. The guard didn't understand what was going on. The hero wanted to go to the gang of poor people, but they would never take on a case that could get them in trouble. It was because the hero had a pinchy question that he decided to turn to these people. This place worked with anyone who could pay, and the name of this place was How Gang. The hero and the guard went down the stairs, and then the man at the bottom greeted them. He said that he was the head, and apologized for such a reception, explaining that they were not used to seeing such people. The hero said that there was nothing wrong with it, and then went straight to business. The head asked why he had turned to them and not to the poor, and the hero explained that a gang of poor people would not take his order, and that was the reason he had come to this place. The head said that they should have been careful, because given the hero's surname, they should be careful. The hero asked if they would take the job, and the head explained that they would not refuse to do it if they were paid generously. The hero took out a piece of paper and said that he was looking for a boy of 10 years old. The head looked at the drawing and thought about it. The head said that he had to take back his words. He thought that he could not take such a job. The head confessed that they haven't had to look for children yet, so he wasn't sure. The hero said that as a fee, he could offer information about the leader of the How Gang. Everyone instantly drew their blades and pointed them at the protagonist, who was not afraid of anything at all. The guard instantly stopped all attacks, and then the hero said that he thought he had agreed on a non-aggression. The head changed his face and asked where the protagonist got this information from. Yanjun said that it wasn't important, because the most important thing was that they had information that interested each other. The head asked how the protagonist could confirm that the information he had was true. At that time, Yanjun said that eventually their gang would easily confirm it. The hero said that he realized that they were scared to take the job, but he threatened to go to the poor gang where his information might be valued more. The head said he heard the boy. The hero asked how long it would take to complete his errand. He was told that the search usually lasts something like 3 months, and the hero was fine with that. Yanjun said that as soon as the gang found the person he needed, they would exchange information. The hero then looked at the head of the gang, who seemed very puzzled, and finally the hero added that they should look in the mountains, which influenced the head's reaction. The protagonist called it an advance and left. The head was processing everything he had just heard. The bandit couldn't believe that the head would believe some boy, but since the boy was aware of the information about their leader's disappearance, that's saying something. The head realized that given the skills of his guardian, the hero could afford such aggressive methods. He assumed that the head of the Gu clan also had this information and was worried. The head grabbed his throat and then began to peel off a layer of skin. His subordinate asked if the head was demasking. The head looked very young. He thought he could relax now. The head decided to hide as he was disrespected. There was anger in that boy's gaze. He thought it was his beloved father. At that time, the hero and the guard came out of the building. Yanjun was finally able to relax, because if it came to an open confrontation, there would be trouble. He knew that the head was captured by the Dark Knight Palace, after which the Murim Alliance suddenly attacked and the palace fell, and it was in that battle that the leader of the gang was killed, which led to their collapse. However, the exact location of the palace was unknown to the hero. The hero was happy that his chatter worked and he was able to fulfill his plan. He thought that it was troublesome, but also necessary to find one person. namely the guy who will lead the demonic cult at a young age. The brain of the demonic cult, underneath Fong, and also to get rid of him before he became so dangerous. Even the Sola from the past had suffered because of his ingenious tactics. The guard didn't understand who the hero was looking for. He also thought that the gang wasn't as incredible as he thought. The hero said that he was ready to wait, then he remembered something strange, and could not understand why he remembered it. The hero remembered that they would soon discover a hidden room in which there would be huge riches and spiritual pills that were incredible. It turned out that the one who used them in the past life became a half-demon with almost limitless power and possibilities. The hero thought about the fact that the room is quite far away, after which he decided everything is very easy, namely to forget about it all and do nothing. He thought that he still have nothing to do. At that time, the girl did not understand the intentions of a guy, and he grabbed his heart, after which he asked the girl to date him and promised to make her happy.